All right, welcome everybody. This is the episode 2 of Under the Bar, and today I have training at a powerhouse gym right now. Domenick, you say Dibenedetto? Is that how you say last name?
Yep.
Yes. Everybody calls him Dibs though. IFBB Pro, classic physique, probably one of the I won't say like one of the masters at motivating people. He's always you're always a real positive guy. When you post stuff on Facebook, it's always motivating. You always seem like you're in a good mood and you always got your head in the right spot. That's one thing I've noticed about you over the years. I remember when you were still going for regional shows here when you first started. Now you're a pro in classic physique, which I kind of want you to touch on a little bit because there's a good point that you made about that when you got your pro card about that I think people need to realize. But anyway, your now goal is to qualify for the Olympian Classic Physique and compete this upcoming year. And you're being trained by Mike Kawasaki, which I also have known for a very long time. And go ahead and give us a little short background about how you got into everything and, what about it that you like so much and, just a little background.
So I actually started weightlifting 2013 on my first deployment. I met a guy, his name was Jerome Whitaker, and he was a bodybuilder on the ship. And I really enjoyed how disciplined he was. I really admired that, he did things on his own. Like when we were to hit port, he was never drinking alcohol. He was always eating his meals, and he was very happy living his life by his standards. And, I kind of admired him. So I started weightlifting. And the moment I really, touched the iron, I got addicted right away. So I said, I want to do a bodybuilding show. So I got stationed here in Hawaii, and I was looking for a coach, and everyone's like, Mike Kawasaki. I'm like, all right, who is this guy? I went up to him and I was like, hey, you want to train me? He's like, all right. And, we've kind of been together ever since. He trained me. We did the Paradise Cup twice. We did the Ferrigno Legacy twice. We did 2 divisions of the Paradise Cup, we did 2 divisions in the Ferrigno Legacy, which I won. We did the Aloha Muscle, which I won there. With his first call outs in the first ever Classic Physique National Championship. So Mike really has taken me from pretty much a nobody, getting third place in the novice to, always playing out top 5 the national level. And now we're moving on to the professional level. So we got our feet wet at the New York Pro. We got a taste of it, the Atlantic Coast Pro, saw what the standard is. And now, we're working together to beat that, to exceed that standard.
Yeah. And I remember when you started and how, like balls to the wall you were in the gym, always practicing posing, like you were always into it 100%. And, sometimes I don't think people understood when they saw how you were into it. And I would try to explain to people, I'm like, that guy is motivated, like this is what he wants to do. And like you'll see he's getting bigger, he's getting leaner all the time. He's gonna get there, like, because he's like and he doesn't give a fuck if anybody's like giving him shit while he's posing or grunting and pushing weights in the gym. Like, he doesn't fucking care because he's got goals. He's got his head set in the right direction. Now, when you turned pro at Team Universe.
Yeah.
Okay. So you finished, from what I understood, the top 2 got the pro card placing and you finished 3rd, but because one of the placings had already turned pro in another division, you got that pro card, right?
Right. It was really, it was on one of those 1,000,000-to-1 shots.
Yeah.
And, I got 3rd, and then actually I think 2 of the guys won it in other divisions. And it was like, well, since they've already, and they both won in classic physique division. So instead of giving them additional classic physique one, they gave it to me as the, by a technicality, which, as they say in that movie, Fast and the Furious, whether it's an inch or a mile, winning's winning. I went there with a goal to win that pro card and I left with it, but I played by the rules. So, that was the rules of the show. I played by the rules. I got there, and, luck is when hard work meets opportunity. That's the truth of it. Those who pay their dues, those are going to be the guys that come out and they say they're lucky. No, motherfucker. It takes, you had to play every fucking hand, every card to get that little bit of luck sometimes.
Yeah. And, and usually somebody in a position that goes up there to Team Universe and sees the call outs and sees people being placed ahead of him, or even goes backstage and sees other people, they immediately psych themselves out. They're like, well, I'll just come for the experience. I'll half-ass it or whatever. You don't fucking do that. So you went up there, you busted your ass, and when you're on stage posing, like, you gave it your all and everything. And so if somebody says you got it by luck, I'm like, dude, he could have easily went up there and been like, you know what, fuck it, because I'm already going to be 3rd or whatever, or 4th. And you could have dropped placings by going up there and not having the fucking attitude you had on stage.
So believe it or not, there's a saying that I love, which I'll be talking about Tim Grover a lot, is that when you're great, you trust your instincts. But when you're unstoppable, your instincts trust you, right?
Yeah.
And that's important to really, I want people to really listen to what that means, because it took me 2 years to really understand that. When you're thinking to look at the greats like Kobe, and they've got to make that game-winning shot. Their instincts may tell them, hey, I've got to pass. Hey, maybe I shouldn't take it. But when you're at an unstoppable level and you just know exactly what the fuck to do, you're going to take that winning shot. How that happened with me is, believe it or not, at Team U, we were promised we were going to get a 1-minute posing routine. Then at the day of the show, they told us, no, you're going to get 45 seconds. While in line, they said 4 poses. So in my head, I had 3 minutes to build an entire posing routine to impress the judges. I actually watched everybody. I had about 20-some guys in that lineup. I watched them all just go, oh, man, what about my posing routine? Or they said not do the 4 poses, and they just did the routine. So I was able to build in my head 4 poses and go with transitions to impress the judges. And that's what got me into that top 3, that top position, was that unstoppable. I got this. Don't worry. I know what I'm going to do. I don't need to trust my instincts. My instincts will trust me.
I got you. I understand. It's and like you said, that attitude going in there is what helped you get it. Because if you, like I said, if you'd have went in there and you'd have been like, well, fuck this, or you'd have seen other people and got psyched out, you'd have finished 4th, 5th, 6th, and you wouldn't even got a chance at it. And then you'd have been kicking yourself in the ass until you finally got it somewhere else. Even probably still kicking yourself in the ass because you could have done better if you would have gave it all out like you did. So about I know this is what you want. I'm glad you picked this topic because this is something I think you're. Well, when I think about you as a person, the motivation mentality is something I think you have mastered just from me observing you. So I'm glad this is what we're going to talk about. Oh, by the way, for you guys, when he talks about being on deployment stuff, he's in the Navy. He's IT, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so that's what he's referring to. So talk about how you got into the Tim Grover book and what the book you said Relentless and what I read some descriptions of it. It sounds like something I'm going to get and read myself because I need to. I actually myself have been looking into stuff about mindset and stuff because honestly, people can say it's stupid, but the way you think and the energy you put out is going to affect things around you. Like if you sit there and you're like, poor me or you start thinking negative, you'll notice like tons of negative shit will start happening around you. You have to be positive. You have to be in a good mood. You have to be in a good spirit. And so when you brought this book up, I'm like, this is fucking perfect. So since you've been working with a guy, give us a good in-depth about the book and about the person and that stuff you've been learning about.
So to talk about who Tim Grover is, Tim Grover works with athletes that are already great and brings them to another level. He was Michael Jordan's trainer. He was Kobe Bryant's trainer for many years. He's worked with the top tier athletes to bring them up. And after the New York Pro, after the Atlantic Coast Pro, and I saw the caliber, my mind was a little fucked up. I was a little confused because I consider myself, like you said, I'm very motivated, dedicated, but honestly, Jed, you're using the wrong words, which we'll talk about in a minute, right? Because the words for me have changed since working with Tim. I want you to think about this, okay? Everybody at the New York Pro is motivated. Every single one is dedicated. All of them stick to their diets. Every one of them works hard, right? And I knew that. Well, when I go in, I see 30 athletes, all motivated, dedicated. How the fuck does the guy that wins over and over again? How do you get that? So I had to figure that out. I had to go, and someone recommended, one of my buddies recommended Relentless, said this is going to answer this is going to be the solution. So I was like, okay, I read the book and I was like, all right, that makes sense. Did a little more research. And he actually holds like meetings called the Down and Dirty a group, which is what they talk about. And what significantly changed was the language of a winner. So when we talk about language of winners, right, most people think motivated. They think dedicated, tenacious. They think disciplined, right? True. And if you're doing the fucking Paradise Cup, you're doing regional, local levels, right? A show. We're talking about shows, even in regular sports. Yeah, those words will get you there. Those beliefs, because I'm a believer, and I learned this from another mentor, that language dictates beliefs. So when you say motivated, disciplined, right? Those are your basic beliefs. Those will get you to that top 5. But when you're talking about competing at the highest level, and these are for your national level competitors, these are for the people going for the Olympia, you need a different set of words. So what I learned from Tim is not necessarily be motivated, dedicated, because everybody at that level is. You got to be unforgiving. You got to be I can't think of the words right now. You got to be uncivilized. You have to be a killer. You have to be unapologetic. You know, if you think of Michael Jordan, he was unapologetic. You got to be unhinged, uninhibited, hard, nasty, rough. Those are the words of the people at the highest level. I'm not motivated anymore. I'm unforgiving now. How am I unforgiving? I'm not unforgiving in an arrogant, cocky way. I'm unforgiving with my results, right? That's how I beat people now. Because once you start competing now and this is for, I want people to really listen that are, you know, at the national level or the pro, or going to be going to the pro level. People are pointing at you now at this level. People are watching you, and it's a lot harder to be motivated, disciplined, and dedicated, all that shit when everybody's watching you. When you're on your way up, no one gives a fuck. No one gives a shit. No one gave a shit about me and I did the frig. No one cared about me at the Aloha Muscle. Now I'm a pro. Everybody's, oh, Dibs is this, Dibs is that. Half the people watching this are probably, you know, going, oh, look at Dibs is arrogant guy, you know, doing that. But what they don't understand is the results have spoken for themselves. And it's an unforgiving mentality that I'm going to be, I take what the fuck I need and I leave the rest of it behind.
Yeah. I understand. That makes a lot of sense because, yeah, you're right. As you get to that level, the mentality you have that gets you there. Now everybody's got that. So you have to get a step higher.
You need a new set of words that are going to bring you to that next level.
And that actually, because I've seen that special they had on Michael Jordan on Netflix, and now that really explains a lot of where his attitude comes from.
Yep,
it makes perfect sense.
The class I take, the Down and Dirty class, is it's a lot of how Michael Jordan's mind was, how Kobe's mind was, and he was very, you know, we talk about right now, you know, being a pandemic where everyone is quarantined. You know, I found out that Michael Jordan went through a 15-year quarantine. Imagine traveling around the country and you can't leave your hotel room. Yeah. You're there just to win games because if you left your hotel room, you get mobbed by everybody. So you're traveling around the country and you can't even leave. That was a real quarantine, you know, and that was the mind. And he went every day. He was so selfish, right? But in such a positive way because he wanted to win, and his wanting to win made everybody else win. So when people tell me, well, Dibs, sometimes you're kind of selfish. That's what you talk about. Agreed. I'm a very selfish person, but I want everybody around me to be better as well. So when I'm selfish because I win, right? But he wins too because he models me, and then she wants that, and then everybody else's expectation is better of themselves. That's a perfect kind of selfish. So really good selfishness is when it brings up everybody else around you. There's nothing wrong with being selfish. It's people will call you selfish when it affects them. You know, oh, you don't have time for me. Oh, you're too focused on this. You're too focused on that. And then they want to throw the guilt factor onto it. You know, make you feel guilty the what you're doing because it affects them. Being selfish is okay as long as it brings around everybody else around you.
You know, and people that meet you and say that shit though, they don't know you though. Because I mean, how long have you been? I mean, I've known you for a few years now. Yeah. And anybody that gets that first impression, just sees you will say that. But you know, me, from my experience, I'm like, okay, well, this is some guy who's brought me business, brought me clients of people because I work good with military that need to pass their PT tests and stuff. He didn't have to do that shit. You can say he's cocky and arrogant and shit, but this guy went out of his way to fucking help me out because he finds people that need training that I fit well with. He didn't have to do that. So, I mean, like, I see this shit and people, that's why when people just look at someone and start judging, I'm like, dude, you don't even fucking know this guy.
Yeah. And I've dealt with that in my life. Guido, Jersey boy, nice hair, tan. It's just, it comes with the territory. But people can judge me. I say, you can judge me all you want, but judge me on my results. Because at the end of the day, the results speak for themselves. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like, you know, people that say that shit don't even give you a chance, or people are going to be fucking jealous and shit anyway. People that can't do it. Don't care. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Now, what explain more about because one thing you mentioned to me was this like stealth charisma. Well, what's that about? So stealth charisma is something I learned about 11 years ago from a mentor of mine named Ross Jeffries. He actually helped me, and me knowing myself as I do, and I'm not afraid to talk about my past. And I actually was petrified to even look in the mirror, because I would just see a short little 5'5" guy who's got a little dot on his nose, and no girl would ever talk to him because girls only like tall, good-looking guys. They don't like short guys, right? That's a stereotype. Yeah. So Ross Jeffries actually really helped me gain personal confidence. And one of the biggest lessons he taught me was something called stealth charisma. Now, stealth charisma I took from not just, being able to, going out and talking to a girl or asking a girl out, but being able to take that to my competition realm. So stealth charisma basically is that walking into any situation that you don't need a guarantee for. Walk into any situation and give anybody radical permission to have whatever response to you that they have. Or walking in and not being afraid to fail. And if you do fail, you just move on. So I have this mentality of I can walk into any situation, and if I fail, I'll learn from it and move on. I guarantee you right now, you have many of your athletes, clients, right, that fuck up, they learn from it, but they never let go. They just dwell on it. And what happens when you dwell on something, you train it in your mind, and you keep doing it again and again, right? So Tim Grover also talks about this. He talks about having the confidence to fail. People want confidence to succeed. What about having the confidence to fail, fuck up, and let it go? This is what separates the goods, the greats, and the unstoppables. The guy that's not afraid to go talk to the beautiful girl, and if he fails, moves on. The guy that's not afraid to make the shot, and if he misses, well, you think Kobe had time when he had to make that 2-second shot to worry about if he failed? And look at how many he's missed. Do you think he sat and dwelled on that? So I want everyone to think about the most successful people the most successful motherfucker all right? And sit and think, do you think that person sits dwelling about his mistakes? No, right? That is stealth charisma. That's a very way of being attractive to the world, because when you can walk into a situation and not need a guarantee, you are ahead of 99% of the world. That's what I learned.
That's something I do stress when people slip off the diet or fuck up. And, I tell them like, okay, well, this is what you did. Now you know that this is what it does. So you're not going to do it again, but you can't sit here and just think about it and dwell on it and sit there and fucking cry about it. So you fucked up. Cool. Now you know this is something you can't do, and this is why. So pick up tomorrow, full steam ahead. And that's all you can do. If you learn from it, then is it really a failure if you learn from it and it helped you get better?
No.
I mean, yeah. So that's what makes it a difference. And that's something I've said for a while. I just never knew there was a term to put to it. And I've also heard even Schwarzenegger talk about, if you're afraid to fail, you'll never succeed. You have to take that shot. So, and that's the whole, you can also relate that to people that are afraid to come out of their comfort zone. If something gets a little uncomfortable outside their schedule, they don't want to do it. But then 10 years down the road, they're in the same fucking place they were. They never prospered anywhere.
A lot of it has to do with the fear of criticism. A lot of people, and Napoleon Hill talks about this in book Think and Grow Rich, which was written in 1930s. Many people don't become successful because they're afraid of what somebody else is going to think. There's 6 fears to why people don't become rich. And one of the biggest ones is fear of criticism. People get so scared of what other people have to say about it because they seek their validation. And, that person thinks less of me now. If I miss this, I let all these people down. And that's why I think guilt is a stronger emotion than motivation. How many times have people fucked up because they felt guilty, or they never took that chance because if they messed up, these people would feel like, I let them down. So, guilt is such a powerful emotion that gets played on that I think all athletes and all people that are, seeking that next level of success, they have to learn to let go of their guilt and let go of things that made them feel guilty. Probably a different conversation most people are expecting, huh? Thinking we're going to talk about weightlifting for an hour. No, we're talking about really deep shit that a lot of people don't cover, don't want to talk about. That's why I want the listeners to really sit back and reflect on, hey, what the fuck's holding you back? What is stopping you from winning that show? How many of you athletes out there have gone and done nationals 6 times and not won? Do you think it's because of your physique, or do you think it's because something else is holding you back? That's how I look at things.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'll have people on, they'll talk about their training and eating, and some of that's useful. But after a while, you've about seen and heard everything, and then you've tried and done everything. And like you said, what's that variable that I'm fucking missing? And like I said, people don't want to talk about this stuff because it deals with emotions that they don't want to deal with. It deals with fuck ups they don't want to deal with. And sometimes that's the one thing you're missing that you need. I mean, after a while, anybody can get to where they can follow a program and go into a gym. I mean, you'll get into, if you're going to the gym every day and you're eating and stuff like you're so good, there's still a lot of people that are doing the same thing you're doing. So like we were talking about earlier, what's that one thing that's going to put you above them? And that's this element right here that some people don't want to deal with.
Right. Something that, and a good exercise to do to practice is going to bed with clarity at night. So what I do every single night is I throw out the garbage. And when I throw out the garbage, I actually imagine myself throwing all that bullshit that's holding me back throughout the day and putting it in there and taking it out. If you go to bed every night with the garbage that's carrying you on, that you deal with throughout the day or deal without life, you're not going to get good rest. You're not going to have good clarity. Every night, it's essential to go to sleep with a sense of clarity. Go to bed with a quiet mind. Now, it doesn't happen all the time. You know what I mean? There's times that you have a lot going on. We're all human. But I can say 95% of the time when I go to sleep at night, I have a quiet, clear, happy mind because I got rid of all the garbage holding me back. Successful people, and Tim Grover called these cleaners, when they're at the top level, they only take what they need and they leave everything else behind. They don't carry a lot of shit with them. If you got to climb a mountain, do you want a 100-pound bag or do you want a 10-pound bag?
And you want that 10 pounds to be of shit that's actually going to help you get to the top, not just worthless stuff. It's funny you said that because that's something I've had a hard time with this week, sleeping, because I've had a bunch of shit come up and it's been bugging the hell out of me. And I've actually had a hard time sleeping. And we know that the better you sleep, the better your results are going to be, because that's when your body heals up. So if you've got shit aching on your mind, keeping you up, it's just going to fucking hold you back. So whatever that situation is, or whoever that person is that's keeping you up, they're probably not even fucking worth it. If they're keeping you from holding you, anytime some element's keeping you from getting to where you're wanting to be, it needs to go. Mm-hmm. I definitely believe that, even if it's a person or a thing or whatever the fuck it is. Now, something you mentioned here that I want to talk about, having people in your circle. I do stress environment. And one thing I will say is, and I'm actually going to do a separate video on this myself about environment, about how, a lot of people are afraid there's a period where they go on their own because they're leaving stuff behind or leaving friends behind that are not going to be helping them. And if they want to prosper, they have to let some of that go. But as you get through that period by yourself and start getting in a new routine, you will come across other people doing the same thing you're doing, and your environment will start adapting to what your goals are. But you have to break out of that zone. You have to break out of that zone and go through that period on your own of being uncomfortable and figuring shit out until you come across those people. Now, what you said about having people in your circle with the same goals and stuff that you have, or the people in your circle have to be as fucked up as you are. Yep. It's kind of the same thing, but clarify on what your angle is on that.
So I know we wanted to talk a little bit about balance and stuff like that. And it all comes down to is that the people when on your way to success at the highest level, everybody needs to be just as fucked up as you are in some way. My coaches, Mike, even as quiet as he is, he's as tough, as ruthless as it comes as a trainer. You know what I mean? As hard as it is. One of my other coaches I work with, Dave, dynamic fitness coach in Florida, him too. He's just as let's go fucking win attitude, whatever it takes to win. My girlfriend, she just has a rough, let's go, bring on another set, everything. So everything in my life, every person that is involved close to me is on that same journey. I will not accept anything less. And some people, this is just my belief. I could be wrong. Some people believe, you have balance in your relationship. You need to have balance. Some that's going to help you. Look, if you've got balance, right, you got a scale and you weigh some here and you weigh some here and they're equal. What does that come to? 0. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can't have that. Every single person around you needs to be on the same path. And the moment you have somebody else, that thinks differently, they're going to start throwing those emotions like guilt, the selfishness, this and that, because they don't understand. And the girl I was dating a few months ago, she had problems with the money I was spending in bodybuilding. And I was like, well, this is my goal. She was like, well, we could put it towards this, put it towards that. And that's when I realized this girl isn't on the same fucking page that I'm on. And she's going to end up holding me back. And I had to tell her, hey, it ain't going to work out. You're not the one. I need somebody in my life that is going to be 100% go fucking do this, or, that's it. It's not going to work out. And that's how everybody in your circle needs to be when it comes down to the down and dirty group. We're all successful people. You're talking about the number 1 and number 3 parachute jumpers in the world, the best piano player in the world. Phil Heath comes in sometimes. And I've seen him in some of the classes. On Mondays, I have a mastermind group with really rich people that are talk about Napoleon Hill, all sitting here talking about, hey, what did we do good this week? What are our wins? What can we focus on this week to get us on the next level? All different goals, but on the same ruthless mentality of this is our life, and I'm not going to set towards a mediocre one.
You know, some people could say when you talked about the letting the girlfriend go, could probably think you're an ass, but I think that's pretty fucking cool, though. I mean, that's like to have the balls to do that, because some people don't even. Well, you know, she's good. Like, well, dude, she's holding you fuck back. Who cares? Like, it's not gonna. Because if you don't cut it off now, you don't rip the Band-Aid off now, then 10 years down the road, when you've got kids and shit, and realize you're not the one, it's gonna fucking suck worse then. So it's
hardest
good.
Choices require the strongest wills.
And you got to, when you realize it's not going to work, you got to cut that shit off before it gets worse, before you get deeper in the fucking hole. So I'm definitely down with you on that. That's and when you said about balance, that was a good point. I know a lot of people preach that, but you know, through experience, and I've been trying to, and you know, I've been better as a trainer than I have a competitor, but I still have that at least wanting to win at least one show. And I realize that until I do that, my life's going to be mostly dedicated to that. But you know what? I am completely fucking okay with that. Like the other stuff that people say for balance, like, well, you know, you need to, I don't fucking want that shit. That's not interesting. The stuff that you're saying that I need to have in my life to have balance would throw me off and make me fucking miserable.
Yeah.
I don't want that shit. I want that scale to be toppled over in the direction that I want it. I don't want to be mediocre.
We'll talk a little bit more about that when I'm going to talk about the dark side later. But when it comes to balance, you know, people say that if I have too much on my plate or whatever to do this, well, get a fucking smaller plate. Take what you need, you know, get rid of the rest. People that want balance, what they want is they want an escape from what they're working on. And people like us can't actually do that. I can't go on a vacation. I mean, I enjoy my nights out, but I know when I need to rest. I know when I need to recover. I know when I need a beach day, stuff like that. But it's not about having balance. All of it is part of the process. Somebody saw me on the beach. They're like, "Oh, you're not in the gym?" I was like, "No, man. This is my day to unwind the mind. So tomorrow I have a harder workout." It's actually part of the journey. What people say when they want balance is they want an excuse to go out and do shit that they know is not part of that's going to help them. They want to go get drunk on a Friday because they've been sober for this time. Oh, that's about balance. No, it's not about balance. All right. You have to be really honest with yourself and know who you are. Know when you need to rest, you know, and not having balance, but knowing when you need to rest. For example, I see people talk about, I only go on 4 hours of sleep. You hear that a lot in the military. Yeah, 3 hours of sleep a night, bro. Fucking sleep is for the weak. I was like, have you gone 2 weeks without 3 hours of sleep? Dude, how the fuck can you focus? How can you focus? You know, knowing when to rest, that is part of your process. That's part of your journey. Knowing when to have fun, knowing when to escape. But that doesn't mean that you're balancing everything out. That means it's all encompassed into getting that goal and end result. Do you follow me? Does that make sense?
No, it does, because especially in bodybuilding, like if you don't rest, your body doesn't recover, and you have to recover in order for metabolism to be up, in order for muscles to be there. So if you are like, okay, well, I don't want to sit in the house and I've got my food with me, I'm going to go to the beach and lay down. Nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean you're out fucking binge drinking for days, fucking shit up. Like a day off, people, that's one thing I keep having to preach. People's like, dude, you need to take time off. Like, working out, can I do extra days? Fuck no, you need these days off this week. It's just as important, but don't be going out and doing stupid shit. Going to the beach is perfectly fine. Yeah, that's not balance. That's all in the equation. And when people put that balance, when they put those things in there, like they'll immediately ask you, oh, well, you know, can I drink or can I have cheat meals and stuff? Like, dude, your mind's already in the bad spot. Like you don't go into a program to get better and think about when you're going to get the things that have been fucking you up. Absolutely. You don't do that shit. You have to be willing to let that shit go. Will there be one down the road? Probably will. Does that need to be on your mind? No, you need to have the mentality that you're not going to get that shit for a long time, because that needs to not be on your mind at all.
Winning is all consuming. It's my favorite quote. Winning is all fucking consuming. It's going to cost every dollar. It's going to cost every bit of your time. It's going to be 24 hours a day. And it's not just winning in bodybuilding. You know, for those E6s trying to put on chief, you know, competition's hard. But guess what? you're going to have to fucking study. You're going to have to do the volunteer work. You're going to have to come in on your off time. You're going to have to consume your life to put on anchors. Now, I'm an E6 right now, and I get a lot of, pressure from the Chiefs saying, hey, you should be, focusing on this. I'm like, I'm not ready for that level yet because it's going to consume me. When I want to put on anchors, I will dedicate my time to, but right now, bodybuilding is consuming every minute of my life. And I'm happy with that. Yeah. Because when it's over, I'm going to have no regrets. I don't want to say, well, I focused a little bit of my time here, and then I did a little bit of my time there, and I put some time here. No, it is focus on this.
No, I've been in. I know what happens when you put on the anchors. It's like and you got to play the politics. It's all part of the game. You got to play the game, and that takes a lot of fucking time. And if you have other goals, sometimes, like you said, you got to put that off.
So another thing too is, there's a give and take a bit. If you're going to be a great businessman and you're focused on money, and you're going to worry about, your military career, if you're military, you're a businessman, your family may suffer a little bit. They're going to have to bite the bullet, a little bit. If your hobbies are going to bite the bullet. If I'm focusing on bodybuilding and winning championships, guess what? My career may have to suffer a little bit. My time with my friends and my family gonna have to suffer a little bit. If you're worried about being an awesome dad and your goal is to be the best dad in the world, your career is probably gonna suffer a little bit. There's got to be a give and take. Now, is it possible to do a little bit of everything? Yes. Yeah, you can. All right. I'm not saying you can't do it. You can be a great military man, be a great dad. To be the absolute best at the highest level, I'm a 2-time Sailor of the Year. I was search and rescue swimmer of the year in 2014. I've got 10 rescues, right? To do that at the highest level, no, because my goal was to be the best search and rescue swimmer in the Navy, to be the best sailor on my ship, and everything else around me at the time a little bit had to suffer.
And you did that as a fucking IT too. You weren't an AW.
No, it was.
Yeah, IT, so I mean that's even more impressive because that's like not even part of your fucking rate, and you still did it. Mm-hmm. So that definitely says something. But if they support the person, if the family supports them and stuff, it'll pay off. Yeah. And I say this to a lot of people too. And this is one of the reasons why I got out to pursue doing what I do now, because I kind of realized I had a knack for it when I was in. But I tell people, like, I don't want to be 10 years down the road being Mr. What If. What if I would have done it? What if would I made it? Well, I'll never know because I never had the fucking balls to make that move I needed to make.
Right.
What if I never would have went to this place to work instead of here? What if I never would have, got molded my career around what I wanted to do, and I just went the safe route with the 9 to 5? There's going to be dips and stuff, but every success story I've ever heard, there's usually a period where that person is rock fucking bottom before they hit it. And I think that's a time where you're being tested. Like, do you really fucking want to do this or not? Mm-hmm. And if you do, it will prosper. But if you bail, like, fuck it. I think some people have to go through that to realize, how bad they want to do it. I was just hearing about the whole DDP yoga thing, about how he lost everything putting into that program, and now it's like super successful, but he was losing his house and everything going into it.
Napoleon Hill talks about that in Think and Grow Rich. It's when things are at the absolute worst, and when people don't give up, there's like a miracle that seems to happen. And honestly, I'm living proof of that. When I did Team U, I talked to everybody that was close to me, but they didn't get it. They said, you don't need to do it because when I won my pro card, my bank account said 0,000. It literally costed me everything that I had, training, supplements, flying, fucking hotels, car, and competing for 3 years straight. I had to spend everything, and I'm like, man, I might not win. And then they're like, well, what if you don't win? Then you're broke. And I was like, right, but what if I do? And it was when I was absolute rock bottom. I'm like, hey, I won my pro card. I got to start saving money because I'm fucking broke, right? But guess what? I'd rather be broke. I'd rather be in debt to money than be in debt to regret.
That's a good line. Dude, that is a fucking quote. And usually there's people that say shit like that, like, well, what if you don't win? That's already type of energy you don't fucking need. Yeah. Like, that's right. You need to be the what if you do. That's better because I get pissed when people say shit like that.
Cleaners love the unknown. They love it because you don't know what might happen. You can win. So that gives you ability to control everything now. Every little thing we get to control now. I get to control my diet because I might fucking win. So I'm going to do every single thing. So I'm so fucking ready that when they come at me with something, I'm ready to handle it.
Yeah. And even with all aspects of life, people that have been thrown to the wolves and people that have had it rougher growing up and stuff, like they seem to be able to deal with life a little bit better because they have all these experiences. And even though it's not the same situation, if it relates closely to something you've done before, it's going to help. So, and I'll give you a cheesy but true examples. When I left MEPS to go to fucking boot camp, I know a deal was going on. Looking back, I was like, oh, that wasn't nothing. But going into it, I was scared as a motherfucker.
Yeah.
But now if I want to go somewhere alone or go somewhere I haven't been by myself or something, it's not a big deal because I've done it. And I was like, well, hell, I was all scared about this shit and it wasn't really that bad. So fuck, let's try this. Like, but before that, I never would have went anywhere unless somebody was like holding my damn hand all the time.
I want to talk about a topic that I want to save this to the end, because if you're still listening to the end, that means you're really invested in what I'm saying now. And it's a topic that is not really very believed on. And there's a book coming off, another book by Tim Grover coming out called Winning, which is coming out in May. I'd recommend you pre-ordering it. And it's going to talk about a topic called the dark side. Now, the dark side, I believe that we all have a dark side that refuses to be taught good. Okay. This has nothing to do with evil. This has nothing to do with being bad or breaking the law. What this is saying that we're all born bad. We're just taught to be good. All right. If you look at a lion born in the jungle, right? Or excuse me, born in the zoo, and they feed it his whole life. And then they let that lion out in the wild, right? That animal's still going to have those killer instincts. It's going to go hunt food. Okay. When you think of a baby, that baby is screaming and crying. You can't get a child and you can't say, no, you can't yell at a baby. That baby's going to cry until you feed them. That 2-year-old, stop it. Come here, stop, be good. Don't do that, right? We're all born bad. We're just taught over the years to be good. I think that a little bit of bad in us never seems to go away. So we all have addictions. We all have things that we're addicted to. What really creates power is when to say no to it, and when to control it, and when to escape to it. All right. So I think of how to harness your dark side is find the most selfish you've ever been in your life. Have you ever done something? Right? And I'm not talking to you and to the listeners, right? If you've done something, you're like, oh my fucking God, why did I do that? Oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. Right? Let me tell you something. That's who the fuck you really are. That's your dark side coming out. And that dark side that comes out, that is what's going to give you your discipline to go to the gym when you're fucking tired. That's going to give you your motivation to push that extra fucking rep when you're in so much fucking pain because you want to win so fucking bad that you're doing this for yourself, right? That's the dark side. Now, all of us have it, right? Some people, it's alcohol. They love the booze. They love the party and love the drink, right? And I knew a guy who was a partier drinker. And I said, look, if you learn to say no and control it, that is when you're going to be, if you can monitor your partying, right, to this little bit of time and just escape to it when you fucking need to, that is when you're going to harness your power, because you know I can fucking focus 100% on my fucking goal no matter what. And you know what? When things go on, it stresses, I can escape to my dark side a little bit and then I can come back. It's a very difficult topic. A lot of people don't understand it unless you are getting to that higher level. And my dark side, for example, I know when to escape to it. I know when to escape to it, and I know when to say no to it. And it's something I can do. I can go away to, and whether people judge you or not, they can go fuck themselves, because this is all about my mind, my release.
Well, yeah, I mean, what you do is your own business anyway. I've always been like that. I see what you're saying. That's I think when I was younger, drinking was really bad for me, and I had to learn how to cut it off. And I don't go back to it just because I don't want to now. I'm actually proud of the fact that I can go to the bars and stuff and not even drink anything. So, but I mean, there was a time where I could not do anything without having a buzz or some shit like that.
Right. And being able to control that demon gives you the ability to control every other aspect in your life.
Yes.
Okay. And that's where people don't understand is when they talk about dark side, they're thinking about the bad, the this and that. Like, look, you got two options, right? We all have we all have demons with us. You can either push the demon down and ignore that it's there, or you can make friends with your demons and say, hey, this demon is part of who the fuck I am. I'm gonna make friends with it and I'm gonna use it. Your dark side could only help you. It will never not help you unless you can't control it. So once you learn to control the dark side and you learn to utilize it, that is when it's 3 a.m. You got to be at work at 5 and you're going to go to work anyway. That's the dark side that's pushing. You know, you look at like politicians and, you see them get in trouble for, drugs or prostitution or something. You see football players are getting DUIs. Let me tell you, a CEO of a business, a drug lord, drug king, and a professional athlete at the highest level, they're not really much different. They're all killers in their field. They all have to be the best in everything. They need to control everything. They need to be the number one. Whether you're a CEO, a drug lord, or a 4-time champion, the mentality really doesn't change.
Yeah, it's just applied to different things depending on what your goal is. Yeah, I get it. Mm-hmm. Shit, what was I going to say? Oh, when you mentioned about controlling the demons, that reminded me, when I had actually learned to stop drinking on the weekends and stuff, it was so much easier for me to be disciplined with food.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if I can fucking quit this, then I mean, this is what I really want. If I can push that aside, then it's no big deal to push this aside. It was easy after that. So yeah, mm-hmm. I definitely get it. It does. Because I mean, if you can battle the biggest one, then the other ones ain't shit.
Yes, and that's what I express to people too. Hey, what is that most selfish you ever been? That dark side that you got? Can you say no to it or can control it? Only go to it when you need to? Yeah. All right. And then I just watch them succeed exponentially. Crazily, things happen because they found that they have that control. Either your dark side can control you or you can control it. It's one or the other. And that's what people don't understand. That's where people kind of get lost in life, is that they're so worried about finding that balance and doing this, doing that. Hey, no one to say no to it. Focus on this. And then, hey, when it's time to be that, then you can go to escape. Like I said, I can't go on a vacation. To me, going on a vacation is weakness. I need something else that I can go and control, something else that I can put pressure on. Pressure is a privilege. Having pressure is one of the best privileges we can have. Imagine being a football player and your coach putting you in for that big shot. That's a lot of fucking pressure, man. You can do that, and you can do something once, yeah, but you can do it over and over again. That's what makes you unstoppable. Pressure, I tell everybody, and I learned this was what I learned from Tim Grover, is to go out and seek pressure. The Sean Ray's coming up, right? That's a big show in Hawaii. I was raised here as a bodybuilder in Hawaii. I represent Hawaii everywhere I go. I'm going to have to compete in the Sean Ray and beat people that are to come to our state. That's fucking
I was going to ask you if you were going to do that.
Yeah, I'm doing it. You're going to take a shot at the king. Maybe you best not miss, because I'm coming in. Mike and I already talked about it. We're coming in swinging. This is Hawaii's become my home, and I'm a proud classic physique competitor representing the state of Hawaii. All right, you're going to open up the people are going to fly here. All right, well, guess what? You're going to have to come down with me. And I don't mean that. Look, people can say arrogance. Look, you can't be a champion unless you're a competitive motherfucker. I'm very competitive and I want to win.
Dude, there's a difference. Just being confident doesn't make you cocky. If you're confident, that's okay. There's a big difference. People get those two mixed up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They absolutely get mixed up.
But go ahead.
You look at Phil Heath. People rip on Phil Heath. He's arrogant. Good guy's a 7-time world champion.
Yeah.
He's always said, I'm a killer. I'm out to win. He's stuck to his guns from, how many years. People mistake that arrogance for cockiness. And we live in a society today where if you're competitive, it immediately gets put to, oh, you're arrogant. Oh, no, man, I want to win. I'm not here to be if I wanted to be the best me, I just be, hey, Jed, do I look good? Yeah. All right. Thanks, bro. All right. That's be the best me. I want to win titles. The you versus you attitude is cool, but it's not just you versus you. It's you versus you, and it's you versus them. It's you versus you. You got to be at the gym. You got to be accountable to your diet and not cheat. Right. Even when people say, hey, look, hey, cheat, coach will never know. Motherfucker, you'll know. That's you versus you. You versus them is saying, hey, these motherfuckers are coming to my island to compete against me. Guess what? I'm bringing in my fucking absolute best physique I'll ever have because I need to beat them. So it is versus you, and it's you versus them. That is the different mentality that I think will separate the good, the great, and the unstoppable.
I think one of the first obstacles people that get into this sport have is you versus life, because they have to they have to learn this discipline, this dieting, this training on top of the shit that's already, because life doesn't go away. You're still going to get a flat tire. You still got to pick your kids up from school.
Yes.
You still got to go to work. So you have to learn if this is really what you want to do. That's like the first obstacle you can do is how you're going to do all this and do all this shit on top of this new goal you have. And a lot of people get weeded out with that first obstacle.
What Dave Camphy taught me, dynamic fitness, when I was living in Florida, was that problem planning is problem solving. You know, when you're a bodybuilder, you know, he hit the nail on the head. When you're a bodybuilder, everything else, and you're a true bodybuilder, everything else manages, because my room is always clean because I have to have clean clothes. My dishes are done. My food is always prepped. I start planning for shit that can go wrong. Hey, when do I got to change my oil? When do I have to do this? Because if something happens in the middle of prep, you know, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
So you have to start planning for all the problems that can come your way and start handling that shit now. And, you know, being a bodybuilder, I never made a dime doing it. But let me tell you, I've gotten more responsible, financially responsible. I've gotten more responsible with my food. I became a much better person and organized my life because everything else revolves around the sport.
Yeah, it changes you as a person. It makes you see. One thing I tell people that first get into it, if they make it all the way through, is what you're going to understand is some of the things you thought were big deals in your life, it's not going to be shit. When somebody's complaining because they didn't get the right shit at the restaurant or they didn't get to go on time, you're gonna be like, man, what the fuck? That ain't shit. Because you've done stuff so much harder, you know? So it definitely, if you're one of these people that actually makes it through a prep or makes it to a contest, I mean, you at least can take that with you, that you're a stronger and better person. And the stuff that you used to think was a big deal ain't shit anymore. And I think it helps. I think it helps people that get through it. I think it helps them be more disciplined. Cause I see people that go through it and do a couple of contests and they quit. But then when it comes to their everyday life stuff, they're a lot better structured and a lot better disciplined with stuff. And they don't go fucking crazy off the deep end all the time because they've had the experience of having to buckle down, which is one thing you said about going back about people looking for balance. Like I think people get so deep into the demons that for them to achieve true balance, they have to go 100% in the other direction for a while. Like, if you can, because I tell people, like, if you can go this long without cheating, then when it comes time to when you can, you're going to be able to control yourself. But if you already have the mindset, you're going to do it every weekend, you're fucking done. Yeah. You're done. Because you're already looking forward to that first Saturday and you haven't even been following your diet this week. You're off the deep end. So I think my personal opinion, in order to achieve that balance, you have to go extreme in the other direction to kind of throw the scale in the other direction so that you make what you're doing now the priority and the other stuff just very moderate. And that's because once you say balance, you automatically think equal of both. So if I do this, then I can fuck up this much. Right. And they got to get out of that mentality.
I think it's a mentality. If you're just trying to be average, if you're not trying to win, if you're just trying to get through life, dude, have balance. Go spend time with your family, go to work, go home, spend some time with your family, play some video games, go to bed. On the weekends, go watch the fucking ball game, work on if you're a normal average guy, but if you're listening to this podcast, you're not here to be fucking average. You don't want to be average. If you're just sitting here listening to us talk this long, you don't want to be average. You want to be the number one motherfucker, right? And to do that, there's no balance. Yeah, you do have to escape to that dark side. You do have to have that escape, that other control, but everything has to be consumed. Winning is all consuming. That's why I love that quote so much.
And you know what? It's worth it. Everybody that's super successful goes through a period where they get like that. And I mean, it pays off. And that's what you have. That's what you have to fucking do, man. I mean, you're not going to get that. People that think that they can get that doing their everyday shit it's not going to happen. There has to be a period where you have to buckle down and everything has to be geared towards that one thing, because those are the people that make it. I mean, that's how life is. It's just how it is. People have a hard time coming to terms with that shit.
It is an end result, a goal with a burning desire. 1930 that was written. You have to have a vision. You have to know exactly what the fuck you want. And you have to have a burning desire to go get it. Napoleon Hill, a lot of people nag on him because it was 100 years ago, almost, but the principles still apply today. That's why Think and Grow Rich, I think, is a great starter book for anybody who wants to do, start with anything goal oriented, because it touches on a lot of the shit that still apply today. It was really a foundation, Think and Grow Rich. That's what he says. You have to have that big vision and you got to have a burning desire to fucking do it. If you don't have that burning desire, and you don't have the right people around you. See how this podcast is coming full circle, because it's talking about having the people around you. focusing on it, knowing that that is how you get there. And then when you fail, you fuck up, right? You move the fuck on and you keep going. That's when shit happens. That's the difference between the good, the great, and the unstoppable. That's how you get the Thomas Edisons and the fucking Henry Fords and the Michael Jordans, the soon to be Domenick Dibenedettos.
That's how you get the fucking names that we'll never forget.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. I mean, you may be good, but 10 years, 20 years from now, nobody may even know who the fuck you are. But if you're great, like the names you just mentioned, people will never forget those guys.
Absolutely. And, we're taught in a society to be relent. Like I said, we're all taught to be good. We're all taught to be great, average people, right? To fit in. But the people we admire the most are the motherfuckers who don't fit in at all. Kobe was the loneliest of them all. He was such a lonely road. While people were out partying, Kobe used to wake up at 3 a.m. to go play basketball by himself. That was his escape. That was his dark side. And, his journey was 100% towards basketball. After some games, he would go back to practice some more. Who does that? That'd be like after winning the Paradise Cup. All right, I'm going to go work out in the gym instead of going to get a cheat meal. That was Kobe's mentality. That's a level that I'm still trying to get to.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're right. That's what it takes. That's and I mean, that's why there's only a very small percentage of those people, because I mean, not everybody can do this shit.
Right.
Dibs, I am so glad you came on today, and just everybody that listened to this, I'm not even gonna say I know you fucking took something from it. If you did, you didn't listen to it. Mm-hmm. This is I will put all the books and stuff you mentioned and the guys you're working with. I can put their information in the description, their Instagrams. I'll put his Instagram down, so you guys can follow him as he makes his journey to the Sean Ray and to the Olympia. And yeah, is there anything else you want to leave people with before you leave?
My final words are going to be, know who exactly who you are. That's extremely important. And remember that winning is all consuming. It is all consuming. So if you really want to be a winner, understand it's going to consume all of you. If you really want to be unstoppable.
And I'll say on top of that, for some of you guys that are like me and you're older and you're starting to let the age get in your head, the longer you think of it, the older you're going to be when you finally get off your fucking ass. So you might as well go ahead and start doing it now. So you won't be what if 5 years down the road when you can't do it and then, you're stuck. So before you start worrying about the age of stuff getting to you, go ahead and get started and get a head start on it. That's been one of my issues is, I'm 37. I'm going on, 40 in a few years. I'm like, fuck, how many years I got left? I'm like, while I'm thinking about that, I should be fucking pushing right now to get what years I've got left, because nobody says that I can't do this in my mid 40s. I mean, there's plenty of bodybuilders in their 40s that have done very well. So, having like we're talking about earlier, just dwelling on shit, just fucking hold you back.
Yeah. Let go. It's time to let go. Let go of the guilt. Let go of what's holding you back and move the fuck on.
Yeah. Dibs, man, thank you again. I want to bring you on more. I definitely want to bring you on to talk more, and especially as you get closer to competing and stuff, so we can go over some of that if you want. And
absolutely.
Yeah, I'll see. I know you come over to warehouse sometimes, so I'll see you then. And tell Mike I said hey.
I will. All right, man.
All right, take it easy.
Later, bro.